Good morning. It is 8:10 here in Chicago, a.m. There's snow outside. I didn't check the temperature yet, but I would imagine that it's probably pretty cold outside right now. I'm not usually up this early. Lately, my get out of bed time has been around anywhere between 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. But I had a really hard time sleeping last night, and I imagine it's probably because I didn't take my melatonin. I don't have to take melatonin, but I usually do. Sometimes I skip it if I think I'm going to fall asleep on my own. And it was interesting because I really don't understand how my mind works sometimes, because sometimes I can tell that I'm not going to fall asleep. Like, I can feel it. I can feel the energy in my mind working, and I can tell that I'll probably be up. But I'll still choose not to take the vitamin. Now, I don't know if it's because I purposely don't want to get any sleep, because I'm curious about where my mind is going to take me, and like why, because sometimes I'm just like, where is this going? Where is this going? Why am I obsessing about all this? Why am I thinking about all this? Where is it going to take me? And it's like, it's crazy, because I feel like when my energy is like that, I'm better off just being productive. I'm better off just not going to sleep at all and just staying up all night and just working on stuff, working on projects, working on, I don't know, making videos, or writing out a plan, just kind of, I'm always better off getting those things out of my head instead of letting it sit in my mind and, go over and over and over. But I guess the thing that I was thinking about the most, which was keeping me up, was like really just thinking about why I got into crypto. And I knew I wanted to like make a video about it. And I started, writing down in my phone in bed, like a list basically of why I decided to get into crypto. And some of the reasons were like, pretty obvious. Like, the list kind of, it started off with just the basic, like, I'm so tired of, I know that this might sound crazy. Like, this is obviously within what's the word I'm looking for? Within reason when I say this. But I was going to say, like, I'm tired of being poor. Okay. Now, of course, what does that mean to be poor? You know what I'm saying? Like, am I really poor? But it's like, no. The deeper I went into it, and the more I really thought about how things operate in our world and how things operate in this country, in the United States, and how big the divide really is between, people who have a lot of money and people who don't have a lot of money. It's so big that if someone like me, if even someone who does have, you know, who grew up in a pretty normal, like, okay, let's put it into perspective. I was born in Chicago. I was the first in my family born in the United States. My family came from Yugoslavia, which is no longer a country anymore. Suddenly, I am no longer pink. It's getting brighter outside, I guess. But, and I was raised in the suburbs. I was raised in a suburb called Glenview. And we were like, I mean, Glenview was middle class to upper class. Like, it did have, you know, there was kind of a significant divide in that suburb as well. And the people who, you could tell, you know, the people who did have, like, more money, you know, they lived in, like, a certain area of the town. And then, you know, I lived on the far west end, and the, like all the way to the west. And there would always be this, kind of like, there would always be this saying, like, my ex-boyfriend would always say this, like, oh, you come from the west side of the tracks, you know, so if you, I don't know, like, you become associated with a certain group of people if you're from a certain side. So I grew up in, like, an apartment complex, that was on the far west side of the town. And it bordered pretty much, like, Des Plaines and Niles and shit. And, you know, there was a lot of, like, troublemakers. Like, we were, you know, like, me and my friends, we were troublemakers too. And there was a significant amount of just, like, you know, I mean, there was troublemakers all around, you know. It was just, like, it was just, like, a different kind of energy. Like, there was, like, you know, a lot of, like, drug dealers and, like, shit like that, like, kind of close to where I lived. And even when we moved to a house, when my mom finally bought a house, it was still, I mean, my mom struggled. My grandmother came to help us. My grandmother lived with us. She came to help us. So the reason why I'm telling this story is, like, to say that I did have, I guess you could say, like, a decent middle class, like, upbringing, okay? I had a decent, like, middle class upbringing. And as someone who was raised in the middle class, like granted, you know, different people's experiences can definitely have an effect on, like, how maybe they develop, or how, you know, like, how successful they become, or whatever. But, you know, when we really think about what success means in our society and in our country, success is only as good as the system in which allows that success, right? So, like, you know, you can be a really smart, intelligent, creative, independent, like, innovative, like, you can be a lot of these really, really great things that really become the groundwork for building success, and still not become successful, simply because the way that the system operates, and the way that, you know, things are being run, which is usually and primarily on, you know, within a more traditional kind of framework, it can prevent that from happening. So I guess, to put it simply, if even people who were brought up in a in, like, a middle class environment, even people who, even just like the working people, if people who come from a middle class environment, if it's difficult for them to become successful, if it's difficult for them to really, like, try to take that to the next step, and to, to go from, like, our parents' visions for us is always going to be for us to be better than they were, right? Like, that's always that's always like the goal. That's always the desire for parents. For parents, they want their children to make more money. They want their children to be more successful, to graduate college, or to get a master's degree or a PhD, whatever. To, like, always to add an extra kind of layer of, I don't know, to add something extra to, to the legacy, right? To the family. That's usually kind of like how it goes. And when you find kids that come from middle class families are finding it more difficult than their parents, if these people are having a harder time to really make something of themselves, to really use their talents, their skills, their creative abilities, they go to college, and it's literally like they get out of the college and it's just death. They literally have to work for there is no feeding, there is no creating something new. There's no room. Like, the way that things are currently, it's like it leaves no room for people to really create something new and to do something different, and to become part of, something that will encourage and support and inspire free thinkers and innovative thinkers and people who think outside the box and people who are trying to really use their skill in a new way and use their talent in a new way, and to break out of that box and to do better than their parents, and to, like, but where does that, like, it, so it's just this never-ending cycle that keeps people in their place. So if you come from a middle-class family, you stay in a middle-class family, like, because it's like you get out of college, and then you have all these, like, loan debts or whatever, and you just end up, instead of actually getting a job doing what you went to school to do, you have to, like, work your way. You have to, you have to work some other job, or you have to do something within that industry that is not even, like, something you enjoy, I clearly need to drink more coffee because my communication totally sucks right now, but it happens. So when I say I'm tired of being poor, it's basically like saying, like, I'm tired of feeling stuck in the exact same place that I have been. And, I mean, that is a give and take statement. I'm not, like, overall, I am in a better place. Overall, I do it's interesting. It's interesting because I was actually making more money 15 years ago, 10, 15 years ago. I was making more money in my 20s than I'm making right now. Of course, like, circumstances, COVID, But that's kind of the fucked up thing, right? That I was making more money then. But a lot of, I also take responsibility for, my own actions in life and my own choices. And, a huge part of, me being, like where I'm at is just like the personal choices that I made. I really, when I was in my 20s, I wasn't thinking about my future. I wasn't thinking about like 20, 30, 40, 50 years from then. I was living in the moment. I was having fun. I was enjoying my life. I was traveling. I was taking risks. I was living. And honestly, like in a way, in a spiritual sense, I was better off then. Where I'm at now, it's like I'm trying to merge that energy of who I was 10, 15 years ago. I'm trying to like bring the energy back of like that, just like excited about life, excited about doing something new, excited about taking risks, excited about starting a new adventure. That energy is now like merging and coming together with this other energy of caring about my future, of caring about what's going to happen 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years from now. I care. So that's the difference. And that's where I'm at. It's like taking that past energy of that, like that youthful energy, that energetic, spiritual, just like, want to take life by the balls and just like do it. You just want to do it. Like you feel inspired. You feel, like that was around the time that I started stripping, and like I felt good about it. I was inspired. I was empowered. I traveled, I was making money. And it's like that same kind of energy of just like wanting to like take risks, wanting to, do something different, to do something that makes you feel empowered, whether it's as a woman or as just like a creative person or a sexual person or like whatever the case may be for whoever. And it's like, I'm in that energy again. I'm in that creative, spiritual, just kind of like raw energy. But now I'm just thinking like, well, fuck, like, I don't want to be poor. Like, I don't want to be working. I have that same energy where it's like, well, I don't want to have to work my ass off for another company, for somebody else. 'Cause that's what I did, before I got laid off during COVID. I was working for 5 years on a cruise, with a cruise line, or, whatever. It was like a dinner cruise. So 3 hours max cruise. It wasn't like some overnight shit, but I don't want to be working my ass off making somebody else money. And like the type of job that I was doing, I should have been getting paid at least $8 more than what I was getting paid. I was running my own boat. I ran my own yacht, okay? It was a private yacht. People had weddings on there. People had corporate events. People had, like there was big money. There was money in that boat. People spent a lot of money just to have their own yacht. And I would make sure that their event went smoothly. I would make sure that everything ran like well, that we had staff. We had a kitchen in there. It's called a galley on a boat. That dinner tables were set up, that everything was set up properly, however they wanted it set up, like whether it was like a corporate event or whatever, an anniversary, a birthday, like weddings, like, oh my God, like I literally felt like I was 5 different things whenever I would run a wedding. I was a restaurant supervisor. I was a event coordinator. I felt like I was so many different things. And it was just me and the captain. Like, we were basically the bosses, right? Like, on those boats. And I would run these cruises. But I was still, like, I was a supervisor. Like, that was my title. I made $18 an hour. I should have gotten paid, like, $30 an hour. Like, Like, I'm not even kidding. I should have gotten paid like $30 an hour. So it's like, and I worked my ass off, and I was with that, I was only with them for like 5 years, but so the point it's like I'm trying to make is just, I'm tired of being like stuck in this position where it's like, I know I have the skill, I know I have the talent, like, and I just feel like I'm giving it all away. I literally just feel like I'm giving my energy away and I'm getting nothing. I would rather give my energy for nothing. I would rather literally like come here on YouTube and like, do a video once a day, do a video every morning or whatever. Give my energy for nothing. Then as long as that means that I am doing something for myself, as long as that means that I'm doing something that I'm fighting for my own future, that I'm fighting for my own business, my own ideas, my own dreams, my own visions, my own goals, my own passion. I had been in the restaurant industry since I was like 19 years old, like on and off. Like like when I was a stripper, I was doing that for like 2.5 years. That's kind of like a very small segment in my life. But, over the totality of my, work career, it was all restaurant industry. It was bartending. It was waitressing. It was supervising. It was like a whole bunch of different shit. And it's like, and it's like, if I'm going to give that kind of energy, like now I work, basically what pays my bills right now is, I do agency work. So I like pick up gigs. Like I have bartending gigs. I have serving gigs. Like it's just different gigs, and I make my own schedule. I choose when I want to work. And that's totally cool because I'm not wanting to be in that industry in the long haul, right? Like when I'm thinking like 5, 10, 20 years from now, I want to be completely out. I want to be out. Bartending is fun though. Like I do have to say, like I have a really good crew right now. Like me and my boys, like we're all fire signs, and we just have this really good energy. We make really good money together, and we pool it, right? So we split things equally. So it's like even, and I really like that. I really like the way that, not all bartenders will operate that way, but I like that kind of like equal system. And, if you guys are involved in crypto, you're very familiar with like pooling and, maybe not everybody, but like, you're putting all your money in together. Okay. At the end of the night, and then it gets divided up equally. But, so that's actually, something that I'm really enjoying. We've only worked 2 events together, but, I think we're going to be doing a lot more events. So the reason I got into crypto, so like as I was just kind of like, I'm literally just laying in bed thinking like, I have gotten so accustomed to just being in my head. And I want to get into more of a habit of writing things down instead of just like being in my head about it. Or coming on here and just talking and just making videos and just talking about like what the fuck is going on. Just to, because not only does it help me in my journey, not only does it allow me to kind of better understand and get a feel for like where I'm at and how I'm really feeling about things and like what's really going on. And, not only does it like help my journey, but it almost like, it's weird. It has this like double effect. Okay. For me, it helps my journey to document and to talk about things, but I feel like I have to be providing, like, if I just do it, if I just like write in my notebook, which is like, I mean, as a writer, like I have so many journals, but even as a person who journals, it got to a point where I was like, I don't want to be, I'm writing this to myself, but it's different when when you're documenting your journey and you're sharing that journey with other people. When what you're documenting is going public or it's being shared with others. And it's like, yeah, I could call my friends and share things with them as well, but I don't know, like for some reason it always felt bigger to me. It always felt like me documenting, like as a storyteller, I know how important stories are. I know how powerful and important it can be to share with others, to share with a community. And because, like, in my opinion, like community and being open and sharing, like literally what's in your heart and what's in your soul, that is the driving force of community. That is spirituality. That is love. That is the ultimate, like, I don't want to say test, but like that is the ultimate, I guess, like emotional satisfaction, is to allow yourself to be open, to connect with others, and to like open that door to give love, to receive love, to to say how you really feel. It's always just, and that's something that I did not have 10, 15 years ago. So that's a part of me that I'm happy that I have now that I didn't have then. So it's like, I don't know, it's like this interesting dynamic where it's like I'm pulling together pieces of me from the past, from the future, like weird. But and I definitely feel more open. I my 20s, I was hella repressed. Oh my God. Like, I was repressed, like emotionally. I didn't share my emotions. Like, it literally took like the worst relationships, the most toxic relationships, nothing against the actual person. Whew, like, I was in my feels last night, like missing. Ugh, like, oh my God, like, the man that I thought was going to be the love of my life. I'm just like, why is he not here with me? Why is he not sharing this life with me? Like, you were supposed to be the love of my life, but we are just gonna cut that out right there. I'm just like, why are you not here? It's like those nights when you're up and you can't fucking sleep. You're just like, ugh, where's my love? Where's the love of my life here to listen to me fucking, to listen to my shit. But, yeah, so where the fuck was I? Yeah, but I was not emotionally, I was not very open back then. So this is going to turn into just like a rant, I guess, about random shit, but whatever. I don't care. It's fine. Hopefully, hopefully it's cool with you guys. Yeah, so, it's just like I actually remember being in a moment where I was writing in my journal. I don't remember how long ago. And I remember like coming across a single moment as I was writing, going like, oh my God, like, what am I doing? What am I doing? I'm like putting all my emotions. I'm sharing all my emotions. I'm sharing all this shit like with myself. Like this is so it was like, this is so selfish, but I could tell, like, as someone who's been writing since I was 12 years old, I could tell it reached a point where I wasn't growing anymore. I wasn't evolving because I was keeping it all to myself. I was keeping it in my little journal. I was writing in my journal. I was like, all my emotions, everything that I was like feeling was just like in this like little journal. It's like, who the fuck is reading that? Who knows about anything that's going on with me? Nobody. And I like realized that I was actually preventing my growth. I was preventing myself from evolving and from actually making like true connections with people and actually creating true friendships and true meaningful relationships. And that's what I wanted. I knew that that's what I wanted. I wanted to open up. I wanted to share my feelings. I wanted to share my stories with others, like in a non-writing kind of way. And it's like, I'm always going to be a writer. That is always going to be something that I love and that is part of me. And that is never going to change. I plan on writing like the most amazing shit, out of this world shit. But when it came to like my own personal journey, when it came to my own like struggles and emotions, I was like, like, no, like it's time to grow. It's time to grow. It's time to step out. It's time to start, it's time to stop isolating myself, right? It's time to stop isolating myself. And to, you know, start expressing and to start communicating and to start sharing things. And to not like not to hide anymore. So yeah, so it's like now, you know, I'm sharing my journey. So, you know, that's kind of like the point. Like, that's why I wanted to say that, you know, for me to like come to like, you know, post a video or to like share my story or share my feelings, whatever they are, to share my emotions, just generally, just sharing my soul, I guess publicly like this, it is part of a greater, like, feeling. It is part of I guess, a greater vision of like sustainability and a greater human experience. It is part of a greater, I guess, spiritual purpose or a greater desire to feel emotionally fulfilled. And you know, that's why I like document stuff like this now. And you know, because I know that it can be difficult for people. Like, I know that when I come across YouTube channels, when I come across YouTubers, it's always in this moment, you know, it's kind of like something within me calls out to me, and I come across, you know, some video with some title or whatever the case may be. And I find you know, I can find a connection within that. Like for a really long time, like I love my tarot card readers on YouTube. I do. I fucking love them because, in all honesty, like, they were my spiritual guides. Like those tarot readers that I follow on YouTube, they were literally my angels. They were my spiritual guides because I felt like they were there for me when nobody else was. And not because literally nobody else was there for me, but because just the way that I'm wired, I would rather go, like, you know, like, we're all different, and sometimes we're not comfortable going to the people that we do know in our lives. Sometimes we don't want to go to family. We don't want to go to friends if we're going through something. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we're going through something, if we're feeling a certain kind of way, maybe we want to get through it. We want to get through it in our own way without, like, you know, their influence. You know, sometimes the people that are in our surroundings, we love them, but we just want, like, that other perspective because we're searching for something, right? We're on some spiritual path. We're searching for something that is outside of the bubble in which we live in. And that is where I feel the beauty of the internet does come into play, and like YouTube and stuff like that, because it's like you can find that there, and you realize, well, you don't necessarily want to go through things alone. You don't necessarily want to go through things alone, but you also don't necessarily want to involve the whole community that you are in a physical relationship with. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes the internet does kind of provide that nice, like, filter, right? It does provide that, you know, where you can take what you want to take. You know, you have control. Like, you feel like you have more control over yourself, over what you choose you want to do with yourself, rather than having, like, the influence or the energy of these other people that are in your life kind of, you know, like, in your space. So the fact that I found fulfillment in that, the fact that I found, like, a sense of, like, purpose in that, and a sense of fulfillment, and, like, literally my, you know, my tarot girls, like, they just, you know, I mean, I was in a pretty, you know, like, I mean, I pretty much wanted to kill myself. Like, you know, I was in a pretty dark space. So, and I don't know, I felt, you know, I pulled myself out of it, you know. You know, and it helps to have, you know, someone telling you, you know, like, you got this, Saggy. It's like, yeah, I'm a Sagittarius. They're also talking to, like, thousands of other Sagittariuses, but whatever. You know, and, like, part of me does kind of, like, feel bad that I'm not doing those zodiac tarot readings anymore, but I just can't. Like, I just can't. But I you know, and it's like, well, I have, like, I have so much to give. So I don't know, like, I'm just scratching the surface. That's how I feel. I feel like I'm just scratching the surface. So yeah, oh my God. I'm trying to find a bridge to get back into the crypto conversation, and I'm trying to find where that bridge, where it went from, you know, because it went from me talking about how, like, you know, I don't want to be poor anymore, and okay, so the evolution, I guess, of me, and yeah, so now I'm more open, right? So that's where we're at, about me being more open emotionally, and just, like, and wanting to, like, document my own story and my own journey. And the thing with crypto, so money, once I started my Saturn return, okay, so let's take it a couple notches back. Once I kind of got out of that whole, like, 20s phase of just, like, whatever, like, I was just roaming free, I was just doing whatever I want, I was, you know, I was making money. It felt good to make money, right? It felt good, like, in that moment in time when I was, you know, when I was making, like, good, like, cash, like, US dollars, like, it felt good. I felt like on top of the world. Like, I bought a car, even though I ended up losing it. They took it away from me. You know, but I was traveling, and, you know, I was just doing whatever. I was going to festivals, having fun with my friends. And then I hit a point, you know, like, where I couldn't do it anymore, you know, like, it just, eventually, you know, it kind of started to break me down, you know, I don't know if you would say that I had, like, a typical story. I mean, like, I did start doing drugs, and, I can't say that I was, like, addicted, but, you know, it basically, like, once it reached a point in that period of my life once that reached a point where I just felt like I wasn't growing anymore. That's really just what it comes down to for me. If I hit a point in anything that I do, no matter what it is, if I hit a point where I'm just like, I'm not evolving anymore. I'm not evolving anymore. And that's what happened when I was working on that yacht, when I was like running my own boat. It was just like at a certain point, and it was so easy for me to like let go of that job. Like even when COVID hit and I got laid off, I knew in that moment, I knew immediately, because I had been talking about quitting for like a year. Immediately in that moment that I got laid off, I was like, I'm not going back. Like, even if they did ask me to come back, I'm not going back. Like, I just knew. I'm like, I'm not going back. I'm done. I'm done with that place. Like, that's how easy it was, because I knew that I wasn't going to grow there anymore. I knew that that place was just going to stress me the fuck out, and I wasn't going to get what I really deserved. There was no more room for growth. But what does that say? What does that say? I knew, like, as someone, like, I knew how capable I was. I knew my intelligence. I knew my skill. I knew what I was capable of. But I also was smart enough to know that there's no room for me to grow. Like, when you look at these companies, like, maybe I'm being pessimistic, but like, I knew that I can only go so far. Like, right, when you work for another company, when you work for another business, you can only go so far. You can, like, what are you going to do? Become CEO? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're just going to take over the CEO. You guys know what I'm saying. You can only go so far. And I need to grow. I am a person who, I need to reach my fullest potential. Otherwise, I am fucking going to die under a rock. Like, I cannot, it's like once you understand that feeling, once you start to feel that feeling of freedom, and once you really start to feel what really makes you happy within yourself, and once you really start to scratch that surface and you really start to do the things that you love to do, whatever just gives you that feeling, that spiritual feeling, that creative feeling, that like joy, bliss, just happiness. You just feel happiness. You do not want to go back to feeling like shit. You do not want to go back to feeling depressed and feeling anxiety and feeling all this type of stuff. When you feel anxiety, and it's like you're enjoying your anxiety, that's when you know you're happy. Like when you actually enjoy your anxiety, because it's like you have so many ideas and there's so many different things that you want to do, and you're just like, oh my God. Like, what do I do today? Like, do I work on this or do I work on that? Or like, you know what I mean? When it gets to that point, yeah, like maybe like part of your mind will trick you into thinking like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, take a fucking chill pill. But honestly, like to me, that's like happy anxiety. That's like happy stress. Because you're your own boss. You're bossing up. You're becoming your own person. You are living up to your fullest potential. You are doing something for yourself. You are creating something for you, you know, without some, you know, and that is priceless. That is priceless. You know, fucking, you know, I would rather be feeling like this. I would rather feel free and just, and like, you know, just be myself and feel free. And like, if I want to wear a hoodie, I'm going to wear a fucking hoodie. If I want to like look cute and show off my red bra, like I'm going to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like you just do whatever the fuck you want. And it's fucking priceless. It is just so incredibly priceless. And it's not, and you just realize, like, go work on the boat for $18, go fuck yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I know I'm not the only one who kind of feels that way. Like, obviously, like, you know, we find ourselves in these situations where it's like, well, I have to work. I have to go work for this other person. Yeah, I get it. It's just, but like, it's like once you really start to step into the feeling of realizing that more things are possible for yourself, it's you can't just ignore it anymore. You can't just ignore it anymore. I know this is a long video for me to just get to the point, of what I'm getting to, which is crypto, but like it needs to be told, the story needs to be told in this way, because this is how I became re-inspired with life and re-inspired with my own dreams and with my own visions and with my own ideas and the possibilities of creativity and the possibilities of spirituality and like all of those different possibilities. I feel re-inspired because crypto exists, okay? And maybe that doesn't make sense to a lot of people, but the way that I look at it is like the US dollar is, it's a United States thing. It's a statehood thing. Every single currency in the world is subject to the nation in which it resides in, okay? Every single, and you know, I did not really have the best relationship with the United States. I always had a very kind of bitter and, you know, like I just never felt like before I ever like discovered crypto, like 10 something years ago, when I first started having these like writing dreams and I first started having these ideas, these innovative and just like whatever, these like these original ideas about what I wanted to do with my writing and what I wanted to do with these creative projects that I was working on. When I first started having these ideas, I was like elated. I was feeling that creative high, you know, that ecstasy, like kind of high or whatever, like kind of manic, you know what I mean? But it literally, I like will never forget the moment where I literally went from having this like epiphany. I had this like vision, right? It was a very like out of body kind of experience. And I just saw it in its totality and it was beautiful and it was like, it felt so good and it was just this amazing feeling, spiritual, creative, and it was not just about me, it was about like a lot of people and you know, it was like this bigger, you know, this bigger kind of vision. And it was crazy how it happened because like I literally felt like I was stepping into these like gates of like heaven, or I was like stepping into like the gates of Eden, or I was like stepping into this like, you know, like utopia or something like that. And it was like this other beast, you know, like the belly of the beast, the shadow government. It was like this whole other energy immediately. It was crazy. Like, and like when I explain this to you, like, I don't know if y'all like believe in God or if you're spiritual or whatever, but I'm just going to tell it how I saw it and how I felt it. But it immediately after, it's like I felt like I was stepping through and I was about to kind of like embody, like the vision was going to become my reality, right? So I can start to implement this dream or something. Like I felt it in this really powerful, bigger than me kind of way. And I was like stepping through these like doors or these gates where it's like, I'm gonna go do this. And it was so clear. And in an instant, in a second, it just got taken away by this other force, this other energy, this like the nothingness. Instantly, it was like some other energy. It was like something else came and just like stole it from me, or like came and just like, I don't know, like it was crazy though. It was definitely a spiritual experience, but this other like, because I instantly went from feeling this high to just suddenly it just vanished. This energy, it vanished. It literally just disappeared. And I never felt that feeling in that way ever again. It was almost like, I don't know, it was almost like this, some kind of spiritual energy or force that was like, oh no, you gotta work for it now. Or it was like something crazy like that. It was, I feel like I can almost put into words what the energy was saying to me. And I feel like what it was saying was something along the lines of, come and get it. You know, it was like they stole this dream from me, and then they were like, now let's see, like, you know, now you have to come and get it, or you have to work for it. Or it's like, I don't know how else to put it. It's like the devil, like, I don't know. It was just some energy that it literally just ripped it away from me. And when I like kind of like woke up from this dream, I was not sleeping. Okay. This was all like me being awake. So when I like snap out of it, and I realized that it's gone, and I had the clear awareness that it was gone. I was like, I like fell into a depression, and it was like, damn, it's like suddenly I had this weird, clear idea that it wasn't time, or something like that, or it wasn't the right time, or it wasn't time, or things were in development, or like the spiritual world had to get ready. I don't know, like it was just so weird how I was envisioning this, and it was like almost like, okay, now you saw it, now you know what it is, and now you have to work for it. You have to work just as hard as everybody else for it. You have to work for it. You have to do it. Like you can't just have it that easy. I don't know, like I don't know if that sounds crazy to people, like I don't know, like I love to hear about other people's like spiritual experiences, but yeah, so it was something like that. And suddenly, but I got so depressed because I was like, you know, in that moment it was kind of like, damn, you know, like this is literally like I just felt so defeated, and I was so low, and I was so depressed because I was like, wow, you know, and I just had this it just at in that moment in time, it felt like in that specific moment in time, it just felt like those ideas that I had, or it felt like my dreams, I don't know, it felt like impossible, or just, it didn't feel, I was like, okay, or not that it was impossible, it seemed like it just kind of got robbed from me, and it got like thrown into the future. It was like that present moment, that vision got taken away by some energetic force, and it literally got tossed into the future, and it was like, okay, come and get it. But it's the future, so you have to like go through this whole process in order to get to that point, and you never really know when that moment is going to come. You have no idea. You don't know where it is in the future. It's just in the future. It's like lost, or it's like, you know, it's out there somewhere, and you don't know when that moment is going to come until it comes. So it's like, yeah, I know, it's like crazy, but that's literally like how it felt, you know? It was like, what? And then, you know, all you're really doing after that is like, you're just trying to put the puzzle pieces together. Like, I don't even know what I was doing after that. Like, I I don't know, I went back to having like some normal job. Like I was living with my dad at the time. Like, I mean, I was working anyway, but I started like, I was writing poetry. Like I started doing like stand-up poetry, or I started doing like open mic, shit like that. And then ultimately, like, and then I started working on the cruise boats, and then I ended up going back to school for creative writing. So it's like, you know, it's like all part of the process, I guess. I don't know, maybe that was just my God telling me, like, you still got growing up to do, girl. Like, you still have a lot of learning to do. You have a lot of growing up to do. Like, I don't know. But basically, what I'm saying is that the thing with, how did that get tied into the whole crypto thing? So I don't like editing my videos, so please bear with me. Please bear with me. Sometimes my mind just kind of gets all over the place. I don't like to just edit all my weird little, like, you know, bloopers and shit like that. I don't give a fuck. So this is me. So So, you know, I did go through some periods where I was like, oh, the world doesn't deserve my talents and my creativity and my writing. Like, I don't know, like I would tell myself all these, you know, all these things to just excuse why I shouldn't follow my passion, why I shouldn't follow my dreams, you know, why I shouldn't. I still had so much anger in me, and I still had so much anger and bitterness, and just like, you know, still also from my childhood, and, you know, just like, you know, Yugoslavia falling apart, the war, you know, America bombing. So, you know what I mean? Like, I still had so much like anger and bitterness with like everything. And I just didn't feel the value. I didn't see how money was valuable to me. And like, as someone who has like no planets in earth signs, like I am all fire, water, and air. Like I don't have any concentrated earth energy. But I still do have, you know, I still have influence. I have earth influence. My dad's a Capricorn, and my brother's a Virgo. So like, you know, I just never really, I don't know. There's just something about money, you know, maybe because it's too traditional. There's something about like cash, and like, yeah, it's great to get tips, but like I never felt like money didn't really inspire me. Okay. Money didn't inspire me. I didn't see the value in it. There was for me, like money like paid the bills and great, you know, I'm getting a bunch of tips. Yeah. Woohoo. You know, like tips. But as far as like inspirationally, as far as like for me to want to go out into the world with new ideas, with dreams about writing and da-da-da, I just did not feel inspired because I didn't like the framework. I didn't like the system in which my ideas and my dreams would be operating in. Okay. So this is where we're getting into the whole crypto thing, because cryptocurrency is not a nation thing. Cryptocurrency is not an American thing. It's not a Chinese thing. It's not a Russian thing. It's not a Brazilian thing. It's not an Indian thing. Cryptocurrency is not a nation thing. It is a people thing, okay? It is a independent thing. It is a creative thing. To me, crypto is creative. It's it lays down a framework for creativity, for inspiration, for innovation. To me, it's creative. It's not, and that is why I feel like, because because now there is this interesting, creative, innovative system of currency that we can build a new foundation on top of, that is what gives me inspiration to want to do what I want to do, because it connects the world together. It doesn't divide by nation or by continent or by parts of the world. It brings together just based on different intellectual ecosystems and digital platforms. It brings together communities from all over the world. Like, so you just decide. You decide like what community you want to be part of. You want to, and anybody can create cryptocurrency. Like, it's not just like, oh, only the government prints money. Like this, it's for the people. That's how I see it. I see it as for the people, and I really, really feel like it will become dangerous, and it'll become like, it will not be for the people anymore once it becomes controlled by the government and once it becomes regulated by the government. And that's why I'm just like, I want to be on the side of for the people. Now, there's a whole other video that I think that I'm going to do on like, what can go wrong here, and just, there's always, with any new technological advancement, with any innovative rise or creative new thing, just like the internet, it's kind of like part of evolution, that the moment things start to become more mainstream and more popular, like, how much are people really in control? Evolution is always going through these cycles where, something always, a new idea, a new cause, a new belief, always down the line turns into an establishment. It's just like this progression, right? It's this progression of ideas, that this is how things progress. This is how evolution works. You take an idea, and eventually, as that idea grows and as a bigger community surrounds that idea, it turns into the establishment. And then you have a new wave of people fighting that establishment. That's just the cycle of things, okay? I believe in this platform for so many different reasons, but also because I acknowledge that there's always going to be the need to fight the things that are in power. And crypto is not immune to being controlled. It's not immune to that necessarily. Maybe some people might agree with me, especially because crypto operates strictly from a technological standpoint. But I don't know. This could be a discussion for another video. I, however, as a Serb, like, we got that ENAT in us, I-N-A-T. Okay, Serbs are known for their ENAT, which is basically just this like driving, inner, willful, passionate, fighting energy. Like, we fight, okay? Serbs will literally fight for freedom. They will fight for they fight until the end. They don't let anybody fucking control them. They do not let themselves be controlled by anybody, and they will fight. Like, we have that spirit in us. We have ENAT, okay? So go Google INAT. And that is like my soul. Like, I am ENAT. I am a fighting spirit. I will fight for the death. I will fight until, maybe that's a little dramatic, but I will fight for people. I will fight until the end. Like, for me to fight for my own freedom, the way that I see it is like, just by me fighting for myself, fighting for control over myself, fighting for control over my life without anybody telling me what to do. That in and of itself, all you have to do is fight for yourself, and you're already fighting for the world, because that in and of itself is what shows inspiration, and that is the sign of a true leader. Like, I'm not trying to like put myself on some kind of like pedestal or anything, but I feel like if you start to take you out of the equation and you're only doing things to appease the populace or the community, or if you're only doing things only for other people, you are going to, spiritually, you're actually kind of killing yourself, because you will start to become resentful and bitter as time goes on, because you haven't actually been doing what you have been wanting to do within your own soul and within your own heart. So the first thing, the most important thing, is to know that whatever you're fighting for, whatever you're doing, you are doing first and foremost for you, for yourself. That is what's going to make you feel happy. That is what's going to make you feel free. That is what's going to make you feel like, like, you know, if someone, you know, stands in your way or disagrees with you or whatever, like, you're good. You're good. You know, you won't easily be swayed or influenced. And if you are like swayed and influenced, then, you know, it's kind of like a reflective process. You know, it's probably because you want to be swayed and influenced. It's probably because this person who is saying this thing is actually giving you something to think about and is actually like making sense to you. And that's fine. I mean, I'm not saying you can't change your beliefs. I'm not saying you can't change your ideas. Like, that's part of who we, you know, that's part of the growing process. But I also think that it's really unhealthy and it's bad to like suppress deeper feelings and emotions if it's really something that you feel and are experiencing, especially on a spiritual level. So that is why this video has turned into a much bigger thing, but I think it's good. I think it's good because we covered a lot of different stuff. But this is the reason why I'm getting into crypto. Okay, that is my reason. And that is that. Okay, so so stay tuned for more videos, because I'm going to be putting them out more often. All right, you guys, have a good day. Bye.